Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed, like life is throwing everything at you and you just can't keep up? The constant pressure, the relentless challenges. It's like you're stuck in a cycle of emotional exhaustion, unable to catch your breath. We've all been there, and it feels like no matter how hard you try, the weight just keeps getting heavier, doesn't it? But here's the thing. What if I told you that you have the power to break free from that cycle? What if there was a way to face adversity with calm and clarity, no matter how intense life gets? No, it's not some unrealistic fantasy. It's a mindset that thousands of people throughout history have used to build resilience, manage their emotions, and stay grounded even in the toughest situations. That mindset is Stoicism. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to share 7 Stoic techniques that can completely transform how you handle life's toughest moments. These aren't just ancient philosophies, these are practical tools you can start using today to take control of your emotional state, no matter what comes your way. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you liked the video, so that you can help me continue spreading Stoic philosophy. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do so and activate the bell so you don't miss any future videos on Stoicism. So, if you're ready to stop letting emotions control you and start mastering them, keep watching. Trust me, this is going to be a game changer. Technique number 1, perception is key. So let me ask you something. When life throws a curveball, whether it's a setback at work, a relationship problem, or just one of those days where everything goes wrong, how do you react? Do you feel like it's the end of the world? Do you get caught up in the frustration or panic of it all? I know how this feels. Trust me, I've been there. It's easy to let the situation dictate how we feel. But here's the thing. What if I told you that the real key to emotional resilience, the power to stay calm, clear, and strong, doesn't come from changing the world around you, but from changing how you see the world? This is where the Stoic technique of perception is key comes in. In simple terms, it means how we view a situation is everything. The external circumstances might be out of our control, but how we choose to interpret them is completely within our power. For example, let's say you lose a job. It's a tough situation, no doubt. But here's where perception plays a huge role. If you see it as a failure, if you immediately label it as the end of your career, the end of your stability, then you'll feel crushed. You'll let those feelings of fear, disappointment, or anger control your emotions and actions. But what if you shifted your perspective? What if you saw it not as a failure, but as an opportunity to grow? Maybe it's a chance to learn new skills, to try something you've always wanted to do, or even to pivot into a new career that aligns better with your values. By changing your perception, you change your emotional response. Let me give you another example, something many of us have experienced. Picture this: you're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting or event. It's easy to get frustrated, right? The anger builds up. Your mind races with thoughts of wasted time, and your stress levels go through the roof. But here's the thing. What if, instead of focusing on how angry you are, you decided to change your perception of the situation? What if you told yourself, "This is beyond my control, so why should I let it ruin my day?" Instead of stressing about something you can't change, you could use that time to relax, listen to a podcast, or even practice some deep breathing. The situation hasn't changed, but your experience of it has. That's the power of perception. You don't have to let external circumstances define how you feel. The Stoics were masters at this. They knew that our emotions are often a result of how we interpret events, not the events themselves. It's the classic idea. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Here's a simple exercise you can try next time you're facing a tough situation. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, how am I choosing to see this? Is it a problem or is it an opportunity? Is it a setback or is it a chance to practice patience and resilience? I know it sounds easier said than done. Trust me, I've struggled with this myself. But the more you practice shifting your perception, the more resilient you'll become. You'll find that instead of getting knocked down by life's challenges, you'll be able to navigate them with calm and clarity. And remember, it's not about denying your emotions. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about realizing that you have control over how you react to life's ups and downs. You can choose how to frame the situation, and in doing so, you can transform your emotional resilience. So next time you're faced with a challenge, take a deep breath and ask yourself, how am I perceiving this right now? Is there another way to see it that could help me stay grounded, focused, and strong? The answer might surprise you. Number 2, technique. Focus on what you can control. All right, let's get real for a second. How many times have you found yourself stressing over things that you just can't change? Maybe it's the weather or the traffic or someone else's actions. We've all been there, feeling like we're drowning in worries about things outside our control. And here's the kicker. No matter how much energy we pour into worrying, none of those things are going to change. In fact, the more you focus on them, the more powerless you feel. But what if I told you there's a way to regain control? By shifting your attention to the things you can actually do something about. This is where the Stoic principle of focus on what you can control really comes into play. The idea behind it is simple. Stop wasting time and energy on things you can't change. Instead, channel that energy into the areas of your life where you have power, the way you react, the actions you take, and how you carry yourself in difficult moments. Take, for example, the situation at work where your boss is constantly critical, no matter how hard you try. It's frustrating, right? You can't change their attitude or the way they treat you, but you can control how you respond to their criticism. You can decide whether to let it get under your skin or whether you'll take it as constructive feedback and use it to improve. Your emotions, your reactions, that's within your control. Let me tell you, I've been in similar situations. There was a time when I felt overwhelmed by external pressures, deadlines, expectations, everything piling up. I remember getting frustrated about things I had no control over. The people involved, the timing, or even how others were handling the situation. But after a while I realized I was wasting so much energy on things I couldn't fix. I wasn't getting anywhere by stressing about the uncontrollable. Instead, I started focusing on what I could control. What could I do right now to make things easier for myself? Could I tackle a small task first to build momentum? Could I change the way I was looking at the bigger picture to make it less overwhelming? By focusing on my own actions, I found that I was able to move forward, even when everything around me felt like chaos. Here's another example. Have you ever had a disagreement with a close friend or family member? It's one of those moments where emotions run high, and it's easy to spiral into anger or frustration. You want the other person to see your side, to understand your feelings. But you can't control how they react. You can't control their emotions or their actions. What you can control is how you handle the situation. You can choose to listen, to stay calm, and to respond with empathy instead of frustration. By focusing on what you can control, your own response, you create the space for a more constructive conversation, even if the other person isn't in the same place. This principle is all about regaining your personal power. You might not be able to change everything around you, but you can decide how you show up in the world. Think about it like this. When you focus on what you can control, you stop giving away your emotional energy to things that aren't serving you. Instead, you take back that power and invest it into the actions, thoughts, and decisions that really matter. And let's not forget, it's a choice. This isn't about being passive or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about being intentional with where you put your energy. We all face adversity in different ways, but we all have the power to choose how we react. And when you start making that shift, When you choose to focus on what you can control, it's amazing how much more in control of your life you feel. I know this might sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Once you start practicing it, you'll begin to notice how much more peace you have, even in the middle of chaos. You'll realize that a lot of your stress is tied to things you can't change anyway, and that letting go of them makes space for the things you can improve. So, the next time you feel yourself getting overwhelmed, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what can I control right now? Focus on those things and watch how much easier it becomes to stay calm, strong, and resilient, no matter what life throws your way. Number 3, technique, self-mastery and emotional control. All right, let's talk about something that most of us struggle with, whether we like to admit it or not, our emotions. We've all had those moments when emotions take over, right? Anger flaring up out of nowhere, frustration bubbling up, or anxiety taking the wheel. And in those moments, we feel like we're losing control, like our emotions are controlling us instead of the other way around. But here's the thing. Self-mastery and emotional control is one of the most powerful Stoic techniques you can master, and it's crucial for building emotional resilience. Now, I'm not saying you should bottle up your feelings or pretend they don't exist. Emotions are a natural part of being human, but here's the key. Mastering them is what allows you to stay grounded and resilient, even in the toughest situations. It's about choosing how to respond instead of reacting impulsively. Let's break this down. Imagine you're in the middle of a heated argument with a friend or colleague. You can feel your blood starting to boil, your thoughts racing, and you just know that if you speak without thinking, things will escalate quickly. It's tempting to let your emotions take the lead, isn't it? But here's where self-mastery comes in. Instead of reacting immediately, take a step back. Pause. You don't have to respond right away. In fact, a quick pause can give you the space to choose how you want to handle the situation, instead of just reacting on autopilot. I know that's easier said than done, but when you start practicing self-mastery, it becomes a little easier each time. In that moment, instead of letting anger drive your words, you take a deep breath and you decide, what's the best way to handle this? How do I want to show up here? Let me share a personal example. A while back, I was working on a project with someone, and we had a pretty serious disagreement. We both felt strongly about our points, and it was clear the conversation was heading in the wrong direction. I could feel my frustration growing. I wanted to lash out, to defend myself, and to make sure my point was heard. But instead of reacting, I remembered the power of emotional control. I took a moment to breathe, literally. I gave myself some time to clear my head and assess the situation. In that pause, I realized that reacting in anger wouldn't help anything. I needed to stay calm if I wanted to find a resolution. So, I shifted my approach. Instead of escalating, I chose to listen, really listen, to what my colleague was saying. I asked questions to understand their point of view, and in doing so, I kept my emotions in check. We both left the conversation feeling heard and understood, and we ended up finding a compromise. This is what self-mastery is all about. Controlling how you react in the heat of the moment, even when your emotions are telling you to do otherwise. It's about being able to hit the pause button and take a moment to reflect before acting. Another great example is when you're dealing with stress at work. Maybe you have a deadline looming over you, and the pressure is building. The easy thing to do is let the stress take over. It's so easy to fall into the trap of feeling overwhelmed, and when that happens, it's hard to think clearly, but practicing self-mastery allows you to step outside of that stress. Instead of letting it control your every thought, you decide, I can handle this. I've been through tough situations before, and I can handle this one too. You shift your focus to what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and your attitude. Self-mastery doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging them, but not letting them dictate your behavior. You have the power to respond rather than react. You have the power to choose your emotions instead of being a victim to them. When you develop this skill, it changes everything. You begin to approach challenges with a sense of calm and clarity, knowing that no matter what happens around you, your emotions don't have to control you. You can stay focused, stay grounded, and stay resilient. It's not easy, but like any skill, it takes practice. And with every moment you choose to control your emotions, you build that emotional resilience that will carry you through the toughest of times. So, the next time you feel that surge of emotion, whether it's anger, frustration, or anxiety, remember that you have the power to control how you respond. You don't have to let your emotions take over. Instead, choose to master them. With practice, it'll become second nature, and you'll find yourself navigating life's challenges with far more ease and confidence. Number 4, technique, embrace adversity. Let's be honest for a second. How many of us actually enjoy going through tough times? Life has a way of throwing curveballs, right? Whether it's a personal setback, a work challenge, or something unexpected that shakes you to your core, adversity can feel like something we just want to avoid. But here's where Stoicism flips the script on us. Embrace adversity. It teaches us that every challenge we face isn't something to be feared or avoided. It's something to be embraced. That's right, adversity, as tough as it may seem, is actually an opportunity for growth. Now, before you roll your eyes thinking, that sounds like some motivational speaker nonsense, hear me out. Stoics didn't just talk about accepting challenges, they saw them as essential to becoming better versions of themselves. Think about it. If you never faced any challenges, how would you ever know what you're truly capable of? How would you develop resilience, strength, or even wisdom? Without adversity, we would stay stagnant, stuck in our comfort zones, never learning or growing. I want you to think about a time in your life when something tough happened. Maybe you failed at something important, or things didn't go according to plan. It was painful, wasn't it? But looking back, what did you learn from that experience? What strengths did you uncover in yourself that you didn't even know existed? Let me give you a simple example. Picture yourself in a job that you thought was going to be perfect. You had high hopes, but a few months in, you start to feel overwhelmed. The workload is more than you expected, the team dynamics aren't as smooth as you thought, and your manager's expectations are through the roof. You start questioning whether this is the right fit for you, and you wonder if you're failing. Now, I get it. It's easy to feel discouraged. You might even think about quitting, but what if you shifted your perspective for a second? What if, instead of seeing this as a problem, you saw it as an opportunity to grow? Maybe this job is teaching you how to handle stress, how to communicate better with people, or how to manage your time more effectively. Instead of running away from the challenge, you embrace it. You dig deeper. You ask yourself, what's here for me to learn? What strengths do I need to build to overcome this? You see, Stoicism teaches us that we can't control everything that happens to us. We can't control how other people behave or what life throws our way. But we can control how we respond. And the Stoics believed that our response to adversity is what defines us. Think about someone who's faced a really tough situation, like a health crisis or a financial setback. These are things that can break a person, but when you look at people who've faced adversity and come out stronger, what do you see? They've developed resilience, grit, and a mindset that says, this challenge doesn't define me. I'm going to learn from it and keep going. Let's take the example of someone who's been laid off from their job. It's a gut punch. No one expects that. The initial reaction might be anger, frustration, or fear of what comes next. But for someone who's embraced adversity, that initial setback can become an opportunity to reassess life, explore new passions, or even start a business. That person doesn't just bounce back, they bounce forward. They take the lessons from the setback and apply them to build a future they never imagined. This isn't about pretending everything is okay when it's not, or acting like challenges are easy. Adversity can be incredibly tough. But the Stoics didn't shy away from challenges. They embraced them. They understood that challenges are like weights in the gym, making us stronger over time. Every difficult situation is a chance to train our minds, develop our character, and grow in ways we never thought possible. It's also about learning to reframe your thinking. Instead of seeing obstacles as something that's happening to you, think about them as something that's happening for you. Every challenge, every hardship, every setback can be a stepping stone towards becoming the person you want to be. The key is how you choose to view it. So what can you do today to start embracing adversity? Start by asking yourself, what challenges am I facing right now, and how can I use them as opportunities to grow? Maybe it's something small, like a difficult conversation with a friend. Maybe it's a bigger challenge, like dealing with a major setback at work or in your personal life. Whatever it is, embrace it. Don't run from it. Instead, see it as an opportunity to practice resilience, to build your character, and to come out stronger on the other side. This Stoic technique is all about shifting your perspective. It's not about denying the pain or pretending things aren't hard. It's about understanding that life's difficulties are part of the process of becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient. All right, so here's the takeaway. Next time life throws a curveball your way, instead of wishing for it to go away, take a moment to pause. Embrace the challenge. Ask yourself what you can learn from it and how it can help you grow. This shift in perspective can make all the difference in building your emotional resilience. Number 5, technique, living according to nature. Let's take a deep breath for a moment. Sometimes life feels like a constant battle, doesn't it? We're constantly running after goals, trying to meet others' expectations, and pushing ourselves to the limit. But what if I told you that the key to emotional resilience might not be in fighting harder, but in living more naturally? The Stoic technique of living according to nature is about finding peace by aligning with the natural flow of life, embracing who we truly are, and letting go of the constant struggle to be something we're not. It's about living in harmony with our inner selves and the world around us. Now, this might sound a bit abstract, but let me break it down. Stoicism doesn't just mean accepting life's challenges. It's about understanding that life itself is a part of nature, and we are too. Everything in the world, from the tallest mountain to the smallest leaf, is part of a larger natural order. And so are we. Living according to nature means embracing what is natural to us as human beings. It's about acknowledging our emotions, desires, and limitations, and understanding that these are part of the human experience. It's okay to feel lost sometimes, to feel overwhelmed or unsure. These feelings don't make us weak, they make us human. The Stoics believed that by accepting our natural state, we find a sense of peace that makes us more resilient when things get tough. Imagine for a second that you're standing at the edge of a forest. You look around and see all these trees, each one different, yet each one growing naturally in its own way. Some trees are tall, strong, and straight. Others are smaller or grow at odd angles. But no matter what, each tree is growing the way it's meant to grow. They aren't trying to be anything else. They're simply being themselves. We too are like those trees. We have our own unique paths and growth patterns, and it's essential that we honor them. But here's where things can get tricky. We often get caught up in trying to live according to someone else's definition of success. We try to conform to society's expectations, to be something we're not, and that's where stress and frustration begin to creep in. Take a moment to think about your own life. Are you trying to fit yourself into a box that doesn't feel right? Maybe you're chasing someone else's dream, or constantly comparing yourself to others on social media, or feeling like you're not doing enough because of some standard that's been set for you. Now, I know it's hard not to get caught up in all the noise around us. But remember, living according to nature is about being true to yourself, embracing who you are, and letting go of all the pressure to be someone you're not. Let's say you're struggling at work. You're in a job that doesn't excite you, and you feel overwhelmed by expectations. You might feel like you're stuck in a cycle of stress, constantly running after things that don't bring you true fulfillment. This is where the Stoic principle of living according to nature comes into play. Rather than pushing yourself to fit into a role that isn't meant for you, it's about taking a step back and asking, is this what I'm truly meant to be doing? Is this in line with my natural abilities, my passions, my purpose? Living according to nature means taking a more mindful approach to life, slowing down and tuning in to what feels authentic to you. It's about recognizing your strengths and limitations and choosing paths that align with your inner values. This approach helps you stop fighting against your natural self and instead start working with it. And when you do that, emotional resilience becomes easier to cultivate. I want to give you another example. Picture someone who's constantly stressed because they feel the need to please everyone around them. Maybe they're always saying yes, taking on more than they can handle, just to keep others happy. They might have good intentions, but it's not aligned with their natural limits. Over time, this starts to wear them down. Their energy fades, and they start feeling burnt out. Living according to nature means recognizing that it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's okay to focus on what really matters to you, even if that means disappointing others. In doing so, you honor your own needs and natural energy, creating space for peace and emotional resilience. In the same way, it's about accepting that not everything will go as planned. Life isn't a straight line. There will be setbacks, bumps in the road, and moments where things don't go your way. But rather than resisting this natural flow, the Stoics encourage us to lean into it, accept it, and find peace in knowing that life has its rhythm, and we can find our place within it. When you start living in alignment with your own nature, you begin to see that peace isn't something you have to chase. It's something you can cultivate from within. You stop trying to control everything, stop fighting against your circumstances, and instead embrace the reality of who you are and where you are. This brings a sense of calm, resilience, and inner strength. All right, so here's the takeaway. So how can you live according to nature today? Start by reflecting on where you might be forcing yourself into situations that don't feel true to your nature. Look at your daily habits, your choices, and your energy. Are you living in harmony with who you are, or are you constantly fighting against yourself? It's okay to feel lost sometimes. It's part of the journey. But when you start to tune in to your true nature, you'll find the peace and resilience you need to face life's challenges. Number 6, the sixth technique, gratitude. Gratitude. It sounds simple, right? Something we hear all the time, like, count your blessings. But here's the thing. Most of us hear it and think, yeah, I'm grateful for the good stuff in my life. But have you ever really stopped to consider how much gratitude can change your life, especially when things aren't going so well? When we're in the middle of a tough situation, it's easy to get caught up in everything that's going wrong. It feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and all you can think about is what's missing or what you're struggling with. The idea of being grateful in these moments might feel impossible, or at the very least, unnatural. But what if I told you that gratitude could actually be one of the most powerful tools for building emotional resilience? Here's the truth. Gratitude doesn't just help us focus on the good things. It has the incredible power to shift our mindset, to change how we view challenges, and to give us the strength to push through even the hardest times. I know how it feels to be caught in a spiral of frustration or disappointment. Maybe you're facing a setback at work, or dealing with a personal struggle, or even feeling like everything you're working toward just isn't paying off. In those moments, it's easy to focus on what's wrong. But here's where the magic of gratitude comes in. When we choose to focus on what we're grateful for, even the little things, It starts to change the way we experience the world around us. Let me give you an example. Take Sarah, a woman who had just lost her job due to budget cuts. She was devastated. For weeks, she could only think about how unfair it was, how her plans were ruined, how she'd have to start over. But one day, she decided to make a shift. Instead of focusing on the job she had lost, she took a moment to look around at what she still had. She had a supportive family, her health, a strong network of friends, and the opportunity to explore new paths in life. Sarah didn't ignore the pain or the frustration. She wasn't pretending everything was perfect, but by choosing to focus on what she still had, she began to feel more empowered. It didn't mean the situation wasn't tough, it absolutely was, but practicing gratitude gave her the mental strength to approach it with a new perspective. Instead of seeing herself as a victim of circumstance, she saw herself as someone with options, someone who could make the best of the situation. Now, I want you to think about your own life. We all face challenges, some small, some big. Whether it's a tough day at work, a personal loss, or something else entirely, it's easy to get caught up in the negativity. But what if, even in those moments, you could take a step back and say, what am I grateful for right now? It doesn't have to be something huge. Maybe you're grateful for a warm cup of coffee in the morning, or maybe you're thankful for a good friend who listens when you need to talk. It could even be something as simple as appreciating the fact that you woke up to see another day. Gratitude isn't about ignoring the bad. It's about shifting your focus to what's going well, no matter how small it seems. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude regularly can improve mental health, boost mood, and even increase overall happiness. But beyond that, it helps us build emotional resilience. When we regularly remind ourselves of the good things in our lives, we start to develop a mindset that doesn't crumble when things get tough. Instead, we become stronger, more adaptable, and better equipped to face adversity. Take a moment to think about this. If you were to write down 3 things you're grateful for every day, what would they be? It could be something from today or something from your past. The point is to practice looking for the good, even when it feels like there's not much to find. And trust me, once you start, you'll begin to notice how this simple habit can create a ripple effect in every area of your life. I'm not suggesting this will solve all your problems or make every challenge magically disappear, but what it will do is give you the resilience to handle life's ups and downs with more grace and strength. Gratitude acts like a mental reset button, helping you regain perspective when things seem overwhelming. I'll be honest, I've tried this myself. There have been plenty of times when I've felt stuck or discouraged, but every time I stop to list the things I'm grateful for, I feel my mind shift. It's like the clouds clear for a moment, and I can see the bigger picture. It doesn't change the difficulty of the situation, but it does make it more manageable. It reminds me that even when life feels heavy, there's still beauty, joy, and opportunity in the world. All right, so here's the takeaway. So how can you apply this to your own life? Next time you're faced with a tough moment, pause for a second. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what am I grateful for right now? Whether it's big or small, allow yourself to really feel that gratitude. It's not about perfection. It's about finding strength in the good that's already there. Gratitude can be a game changer in your emotional resilience journey. It may not solve everything, but it will make you stronger, clearer, and more ready to face whatever life throws your way. Number 7, the 7th technique, maintain a reflective mindset. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. You've learned about the power of perception, focusing on what you can control, mastering your emotions, embracing adversity, living in harmony with nature, and practicing gratitude. But there's one final technique that ties everything together, and it's something that can really set you on a path toward long-term emotional resilience. Maintaining a reflective mindset. Now I know what you might be thinking. Reflecting? That sounds like something we do when we're feeling down or when things aren't going well. But here's the thing. Reflection is not just for the tough moments. It's a tool that helps us grow, learn, and become stronger in the long run. Let's break it down a bit. Reflection is the act of looking back on our actions, thoughts, and emotions. It's about asking yourself, how did I handle that situation? Or what could I have done differently? And when you do this, you're not beating yourself up for mistakes or regrets. Instead, you're giving yourself the space to learn from your experiences and grow as a person. That's how reflection builds resilience. It doesn't just help us process what's happened, it teaches us how to handle future challenges with more wisdom and strength. Think about it this way. Imagine a time when you faced a setback, maybe a difficult conversation, a failure, or even a moment of frustration. In the heat of the moment, you might have reacted out of anger, fear, or stress. But once the dust settles, you're left with a chance to reflect. Why did I react that way? What was I really feeling in that moment? What could I do differently next time? Now, don't get me wrong. Reflection isn't about overanalyzing every little thing you do or getting stuck in past mistakes. It's about taking the time to learn and grow from your experiences. It's about using your emotions and actions as a mirror to understand yourself better so you can handle the next challenge with more clarity and resilience. Here's where it gets practical. How do you actually incorporate reflection into your daily life? It doesn't have to be complicated, and you don't need to spend hours journaling or meditating, though if you want to, that can certainly help. But what's most important is that you create small moments for self-reflection throughout your day. For example, at the end of each day, take just a few minutes to think about what happened. Ask yourself questions like, 1. What went well today? 2. What challenges did I face and how did I respond to them? 3. What emotions came up and how did I handle them? 4. Was there anything I learned today that I can use to improve tomorrow? These small moments of reflection don't have to be long, but they help you develop a deeper awareness of yourself. And over time, this self-awareness gives you the ability to react more calmly, more thoughtfully, and with greater emotional control in future situations. Another great way to build a reflective mindset is to create a habit of asking yourself the right questions, especially during difficult moments. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" or "Why does this always happen?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can I grow from this experience?" These questions help you move away from victimhood and into a mindset of growth and personal development. For instance, let's say you're dealing with a stressful project at work. Instead of getting overwhelmed or frustrated, take a step back. Ask yourself, what's within my control here? What have I learned from past stressful situations? What's the lesson I need to take away from this moment? By asking these questions, you're shifting your mindset from reaction to reflection, which gives you the space to navigate the situation with more clarity. Reflection also helps you connect the dots between your emotions and your actions. It allows you to see patterns in how you react to stress, failure, or even success. Maybe you notice that when you're feeling overwhelmed, you tend to avoid confrontation or shut down. By reflecting on these patterns, you can begin to change your responses and start taking actions that align with the resilient, stoic mindset you're working to build. But here's the best part. Reflection doesn't just help you today, it helps you in the future too. The more you reflect, the more you start to recognize the value in your experiences, both the good and the bad. And that's how emotional resilience builds over time. You become someone who isn't easily shaken by the ups and downs of life because you've trained yourself to reflect, learn, and grow from every experience. All right, so here's the takeaway. The key to this technique is consistency. Make reflection a daily habit, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. Ask yourself the questions that help you learn from every experience, good or bad. and use that knowledge to handle the next challenge with greater resilience. When you combine all 7 of these Stoic techniques, perception, focusing on what you can control, emotional mastery, embracing adversity, living according to nature, practicing gratitude, and maintaining a reflective mindset, you begin to build a rock-solid foundation of emotional resilience. Each technique builds on the other, and when applied together, they transform the way you approach life's challenges. So as you move forward, remember this: life will never be free of adversity or difficult moments, but with these tools, you can face whatever comes your way with strength, wisdom, and peace of mind. It's about training your mind, developing your character, and creating a mindset that thrives no matter the circumstances. Take this journey seriously. Start small, but keep building, and watch how your resilience grows. You've got this. All right, we've reached the end of our journey through these 7 powerful Stoic techniques. And if you've made it this far, I'm guessing you're ready to start applying them to your own life. Whether you're facing a tough time right now, or you just want to build a stronger foundation for the future, these techniques have the power to transform how you handle life's challenges. But here's the thing: knowledge without action doesn't lead anywhere. The real magic happens when you start putting these ideas into practice, and that's where you come in. If you found this video valuable, if you feel like these Stoic principles could make a real difference in your life, I'd love for you to take the next step. Don't just watch, engage. Hit that like button if you felt a shift in perspective. And if you think someone else could benefit from these techniques, share this video with them. We all know how tough life can be, and a little bit of resilience can go a long way. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so. Why? Because every single week, I'm here sharing practical wisdom like this to help you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. So go ahead, hit subscribe, and join this journey with me. And don't forget to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these techniques. Which one resonated with you the most? Have you started reflecting on your own challenges and how to approach them with Stoic wisdom? Let's start a conversation in the comments. I'm excited to hear what's been working for you and how these tools are helping you build emotional resilience. Remember, Stoicism isn't about avoiding pain or difficulty. It's about learning to face whatever comes your way with a calm, clear mind and unshakable resilience. It's about understanding that life will throw challenges at us, but how we respond is what defines us. So, let's commit to this journey together. Take one technique at a time, start small, and be consistent. These principles can change your life if you let them. Keep practicing, keep reflecting, and keep growing. The path to emotional resilience is one step at a time. I'm excited to see how these Stoic tools transform your life. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and stay resilient.